How's it going, everyone? The Trout91 here for 10 advanced tips on how to succeed in Gears of War 4. Gears of War over the years has all been about frantic, fast-paced action, and it's no different in this installment. The first thing you need to do as a Gears of War player is respect the guns and the tools. If you don't, you're going to have a tough time adapting to this game. Your best two starter weapons are the Lancer Assault Rifle and the Nasher Shotgun. The Lancer is great for medium to long range fights where you can put damage down on exposed enemies, and the Nasher is excellent for close range fights where you can pick up quick and easy kills. It's because of these abilities of your tools you need to respect how to play with them and respect the playstyles of others. Don't run head on to a Lancer fight with a Nasher expecting to sponge bullets and insta-gib someone, and likewise don't run head into a Nasher fight with a Lancer expecting to mow down some enemies. If you use the Lancer, play more passive, slow down your gameplay and look to pick off enemies off at range, or at least put damage down and target them for your team. If you use the Nasher, use the cover to get around the map and get close to your enemy to strike. If you're having troubles using the Nasher, I would advise playing a support role for your team and following them around with your Lancer to put down damage and help out in team fights. It's from here you can observe your teammates and opponents, what they're doing differently to you, and pick up some handy tips on how to approach these gunfights. The biggest thing a lot of people need to adapt to is the Nasher Shotgun. As I said, you need to respect the damage output it has, especially as this is one of the most powerful states the Nasher has ever been in. It has a very generous insta-gib zone, and you'll find yourself very consistently one-shotting at close enough range. That's bearing in mind at the time of release that this is how the Nasher is in core and social playlists. Competitive is very different, and we're not accounting for potential patches in the near future. Do not rush things. Do not force the situation in an unfavorable gunfight. And especially, do not chase kills when you're not guaranteed to finish the job. You'll end up dead. Just because you have the health advantage does not mean you have the kill. The shotgun has the power to 180 a fight in one single shot. It's very hard to challenge cover this year because of how effective the shotgun can be. You'll see a lot of people trying to force fights and get destroyed because the shotgun is that powerful. Play to your game. Dictate the tempo. If someone's bouncing off walls and rolling around like crazy, slow down, get your actives, and aim your shots. Approach the fight when it suits you, and I can guarantee you, you'll come out the better in the long run. That's not to say you can't be aggressive or rush. You need to pick your moments wisely. For example, if you see someone who's clearly going to run and slide into cover, hit them before they can finish the slide animation. They won't be able to fire back until they stop the animation itself, and it makes for a perfect window of opportunity to catch people out. If you're chasing kills, be wary if someone is going to stop and re-engage the fight. Slow it down and pre-aim if you need to. By all means, if there's no escape for them and they're frantically running away, chase them like a dog chases a bone. This is something I see so many people fail on time after time. Even I occasionally fail to do it and can get caught out if you're too reliant on your sound. Check out your surroundings, be aware of what is going on the map. Don't get tunnel vision. Just because there is a battle going on in plain sight, there is a bigger war going on in the game. This links into sticking with your teammates pretty well as well. You can easily be caught out by a flank if you're all watching the same way. Take the initiative to check behind you and your teammates if you're able to. You can even tag the wall with smoke grenades and they'll explode when an enemy walks by them, alerting you to the fact that someone is there. Be aware of your teammates' positions and what weapons are up. If you press LB, you can use X-ray vision to see your teammates through walls, and this will give you an idea of where they are moving to on the map and whether there are any holes in the defense that can be breached by the enemy. You can also see what power weapons are available and their location. If the power weapon is coloured in white, it means it's available. If it's greyed out, it means it's not available. This is good intel to give you a heads up on potential power weapons the opponents might have, and you can respond accordingly. Taking a look at an example, I spotted a heavy amount of activity over at Talk, and using my X-ray vision, I saw that Boom Shot was available. I moved over to pick it up, and I saw that the engagements are still happening over on Talk. I get the information I need, and the team are pushing from that direction. So it's likely to be safe to move through mid and catch them out as they are spawning. I do just that and pick up some easy kills and deny them a power weapon. A very simple thing to do if you're finding a lack of success is stick with your teammates. Even if they are a bunch of donuts, there is a strength in numbers. 5 guns is always better than 1. Everyone can watch each other's backs, trade kills, and on the odd occasion, pick up a revive. This is most effective when implementing a bait and switch, which I'll talk about later. The number of deaths you rack up will drastically reduce. You might pick up less kills in some circumstances, but you'll probably experience more victories and even learn something along the way. They can also act as a buffer between you and the enemy. By them engaging on them, you'll be able to calculate what your next move is based on their location. You could decide to flank and catch them out while their attention is occupied. You could choose to engage alongside your teammates, or you could choose to sit back, watch the flank, and put down fire to assist your team and put the exchange in your favour. One very important thing you can do is mark enemies. This will give your team the heads up and keep tabs on their movement around walls and covers so you won't ever be surprised. It's very simple to do, just aim down the sights of one of your guns and press the left stick in. One of the most fundamental mechanics of Gears of War that separates it from other shooters is the use of cover. We all know how important cover is in a shooter, but in Gears it evolves into almost another teammate as it can help you achieve kills. Use it when possible to give the enemy as little a hitbox on you as possible. This will reduce the chances of you meeting your demise and will give you an array of options to approach your enemy from. This includes something called wall bouncing, which I'll discuss later on. A massive use for cover in Gears is the abuse of the third-person camera. Because your camera is situated in third person, you can use it to look around corners and see your surrounding area. This gives you a massive advantage over your opponents as you can see them coming, but they can't see you. It's infinitely more valuable when you realize just because you're in cover does not mean you're safe, and in some circumstances you can still be seen as your gun or body parts will be on show. It's also a valuable tool for making the most of your power weapons. Players that are smarter than your average bear will see a sniper rifle or torque bow and remain hidden. What you can do to combat this is ready your weapon behind cover. A sniper can be pre-scoped and allow you to pop out without being locked on to cover and give you the chance to take an enemy down before they know what happened. Likewise, with the torque bow, it can be charged up behind cover and fired off when ready. Positioning can be something that is very much overlooked when it comes to winning gunfights. If you have poor positioning and timing, it could be a factor in negative results. You should always consider your position on the map before an engagement. Do you have the high or low ground? Do you have an escape route? Is there sufficient amount of cover to maneuver through? You should have a game plan before executing anything. Once you're in an engagement, you should be considering how your positioning fares up to your opponent. Is there cover in your way? If so, how are you going to overcome that obstacle? Usually the best method is, if you want to fortify it, is to keep your distance and keep your sights up. Are you gun side to the opponent? If you approach cover and your gun is not entering the fight first, the chances are you will lose the fight. Your gun side is always on your right hand side. If you feel like you need to adjust your positioning in a duel, the A button is your friend. Whether you're sliding into cover or rolling to adjust, you can make your movement as awkward for the opponent as possible. By making them drastically adjust their aim, it can cause them to miss or give you time to strike. A premeditated plan is not always going to be the case. In this example, I'm caught out by my opponent. I immediately know if I want to survive, I need to pull out my Nasher. I quickly scan the environment for any cover I could use to slide into. The cover in front is too far away, so the best tactic I have is to close the gap and hope to insta-give him. I roll sideways towards him, hoping he'll either miss his shot or have to massively adjust his aim, which will give me the window of opportunity I need to hit a shot. Things go the way I want, and I pick up the kill. Predicting enemy movements is not something you can necessarily teach. It comes from experience and instinct. However, you can read a lot about a player based on their playstyle, movement patterns, and the environment. There are 3 key questions you should be asking yourself when predicting an enemy movement. What are they trying to achieve? What action will they do? And where will they go next? You'll realize that the actions the opponent can take are rather limited when you realize that certain animations make for very predictable movement, especially when you're sniping. Let's take a quick look at some examples of various animations. I'll start off with some animation tips that will greatly improve your sniping. When I snipe, I lead my shots into the direction the enemy is headed. I'm not a great sniper, so I make do with what I have. When a player picks up a weapon, they're locked into the animation and their head will stay still, which allows for easy headshots. Example number 2 is leading your shot in the direction of the roadie run. Again, the player is locked into the animation unless they break it, and the head always stays still and travels in a straight line. Example number 3, is a little trickier. When the player executes a roll, their head is a little harder to hit because it's one of the few times in general animations the head changes positions quickly and drastically. However, there is a moment at the end of the roll where the opponent returns to a standing upright position, and it is there you can hit your shot. Now let's look at some examples of predicting enemy movement as a whole. In this example, my opponent and I have spotted each other. I don't have an advantage challenging the room as there's more men around the corner and they have cover over me. What is he trying to achieve in this situation? He's trying to kill me or deflect me in any way he can. What action will he do next? He'll probably try and take me on because he's got backup. Where will he go next? If the opponent leaves his cover, he's got nowhere to go but charge straight at my cover and try to slide onto it. He runs towards me and I wait just enough for him to commit fully to the duel, and close enough I'm more than likely to catch him out in a slide animation. He does just that and I put a shot into him. He then panics and forces a shot that misses, and I answer back with a second. I know at this point he has no choice but to either roll towards me or wall bounce to throw my aim off, and so I make a move backwards and open up the angle ready to strike regardless of what he does, and I get the final shot and kill on him. You could also use this to predict enemy movement patterns well using this technique. In a game I noticed one player relentlessly went to sniper and camped it out. What was he trying to achieve? He was trying to get the sniper. What action was he going to take? He'll run up to the sniper spot and pick it up if it's clear. Where will he go next? He'll probably stay where he was, look to get into cover and snipe someone if he can. Instead of just challenging head on, I decide to flank around and I catch him out. The bait and switch is a difficult technique to master because it relies on teamwork and coordination. So you can imagine how difficult that can be when you're playing with random players. However, if you can do it, it is extremely effective at forcing fights and coming out on top. It's simply the act of someone starting a fight or taking the attention of an opponent only for someone else to come in and after and finish it off. Usually what will happen is one player will soften them up and force him to use the majority of the ammo, making it very easy for your teammate to come in and finish the job. It can be done in a various amount of ways, even if you're not doing anything. Just being a presence can sometimes be enough to force your opponent to tunnel vision before they are sideswiped by a teammate. If you feel like your teammates are cooperative and will follow up, look to bait an opponent out, cause enough of a distraction for a teammate to finish it up. If ever you see a teammate go balls deep, don't leave them hanging, give them backup. Be sure not to fall into this trap yourself, however. If you're not too sure of the enemy whereabouts and you spot a lone sheep by himself, chances are you're probably being set up for an unhappy ending. Wall bouncing is probably one of the most basic concepts in Gears, but can be a challenge to master. If you're unfamiliar with what a wall bounce is, it's using the cover slide animation to slide across the terrain quickly in order to change your position in a fight. It's very simple to execute, however it can be tough to get into the habit of during a fight. Simply face the cover and press A to slide into it. As you're sliding, use the right thumbstick to adjust your camera in the direction you want to be facing when you come off of the wall. Then pull the left thumbstick in the opposite direction to the wall and then come off of it. You will look like you've bounced off the wall. An important thing to note in this Gears is that you can cancel the animation in mid-slide by pulling in the opposite direction of the left thumbstick prematurely. In my opinion, this is more suited as a defensive maneuver rather than an offensive one. With the power of the Nasher in this Gears, using the bounces to progress forward to your opponent is going to have limited effect, as someone like me is just going to sit there and range shots till you eventually fall. This technique links closely to your positioning. It is a vital tool that can be used to reposition and turn a fight in your favour by changing the angles in which crossfires occur. The more awkward a target you are to hit, the more chances you have of surviving. It may only take one well-executed wall bounce to turn a certain death into a certain kill. Let's run through some examples. The first one pretty much sums up all areas of why it's effective. I'm focusing on a fleeing enemy and out of nowhere an enemy comes up behind me like Randy Orton. I quickly realize I need my shotgun and perform the switch. While doing this, I know there's a wall behind me and I press A. This does three things. It buys me time to switch my weapon, it allows me to change the angle of my character so I can shoot a player who was previously behind me, and finally it helps me evade a fatal shot and live. He can't react quickly enough and I get the kill. Moving on to example 2. This sees me helping out a teammate and picking up a kill. I hear an enemy behind me and I make 2 wall bounces here. The first was to help me put distance between me and the opponent, as well as being able to turn around quicker so I can face the opposite direction. The second's purpose changed. Initially it was an insurance policy to stay alive, but when I saw him advancing in a middle roll, I used it to close the gap and change the angles as he wouldn't be facing me once he exited the animation of the roll. As I'm finishing my reload, a third enemy appears. Before he can advance on me and make things tricky, I move towards the wall and use it to slide past him. This closes the gap in my favour because he has to stop his roadie run animation and turn. By that point, I've got the jump on him. We both miss shots, but because my body is moving away from the wall, he hesitates and assumes I'm moving away. I quickly slide into the wall again, which gives me a free shot and the kill. So, my last tip comprises everything I've talked about here, and probably something a lot of people want to know how to do more of is how to win duels. Unfortunately, not all of us have Dark Magician or Blue Eyes White Dragons tucked away in our pocket, so we'll need to be smart about what we do. Every duel has the potential for you to win. Some are harder than others. Some can look extremely bleak and you can execute a play that puts you on top. Just like with predicting the opponent's movements, winning a duel has 3 basic questions you should ask yourself. Who has the drop on who? Meaning who is one with the advantage, whether it's health, cover, allies, positioning, weapons, they all take a factor into this. The factors will influence the next question, which is what are my opponent's options? Do they have the opportunity to wall bounce? Are they close enough to roll towards me? Can they run away? Finally, what are your options? Do you have the chance to wall bounce? Are you close enough to roll towards them? Can you escape? Can you advance forward? A duel isn't solely about the guns and characters in play. It's about the decision making and the situation the duel takes place in. You can be severely outmatched in skill and still win a gunfight by making the right decisions. In this example, my opponent is roadie running towards me. He's completely in the open and I have the drop on him because I have a free shot and cover on my side. He only has one option, and that's to wall bounce and try and make a play. My options are to use the cover to keep space between me and him, so he can't make a clean advancement. He's open for a free shot. I move sideways to give myself cover from any backlash he throws my way, and sink a shot into him. He takes a bait and dives to my left, at which point I try a second shot, but it was too early and misses. Fortunately, he's just rolled into a position he's not got much to work with and tries to slide into cover. It doesn't work very well as I hit him for a second time. He goes for a last-ditch effort to close the angle, and I'm completely prepared for it, and I take the kill. As I was turning, I spotted a second character coming up from behind. She has a drop on me as my back is turned and I have 4 shots left. Her options are to close the gap and keep firing shots at me. My option is to use the box to keep distance between us and allow me time to recover. I sink the shot, I've rolled out of the way of any potential fire, and wall bounce to turn around faster. With this gap of uncertainty, the opponent doesn't know whether to advance or stay. My character looks like it's moving to the left for a wall slide, but slides onto the edge instead, which forces her out into the open. The momentum of my character says I'm going to continue in the direction I'm going. Instead of popping out for a shot like I do, I then duck into cover to reduce the chances of being hit. The opponent realizes things are looking bleak and is probably one shot from being downed and attempts to move forward after receiving the final blow. I hope you enjoyed the video and you learnt something here today. Please do make sure you drop a like and leave a comment letting me know what you thought about this or any other tips you want to leave for any of the Gears community out there who might be watching this video. If you enjoyed it, you enjoyed watching these kind of videos and enjoyed any of my personality, please do make sure you subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you very soon. Peace out.